Hello my fellow readers, my name is Mariemcwilliamsblog. Welcome back to my channel. For today's video I am going to be doing a deep dive review of The Dark Book of Gwenna Luna by Guenther Primig. I can speak. Guenther kindly sent me this book in order to read and review, and I loved it so much I wanted to give it its own video. It is a fantastic book and I cannot recommend it enough. 5 out of 5 all day long, but let me just tell you all about it. So essentially it's called Six Dreams of the Supernatural. Gwenna Luna is a witch, and the story takes place with her going to a psychiatrist's office, and she wants to discuss her dreams with the psychiatrist. And she says in it that she wants to be able to save someone and that she needs his help. And it's not clear until the end what she means by that. But she tells him about her dreams, but also using her magic is able to physically show him her dreams, so that he's almost like brought into them, looking at them, just as we're reading them from the outside. He's seeing it, observing it, just as she did when she dreamt. So she says that of all 6 of the dreams, whenever she went to speak to the individuals involved, or she checked into it if it was a long time ago, she looked up historical documents and things like that, she realized that the dreams had in fact already happened, that she was dreaming something that had actually occurred in real life, another one of her powers, and that's why she wants to speak to the psychiatrist, because of that and the fact that there are dark forces coming after her. So it's kind of cool because it's got kind of illustrations throughout, which I really like. I kind of like the tone of it, but I'm kind of going to talk about each 6 of the tales. There's another illustration there. To sort of introduce what it's about and see what you think, basically. So we have this one, which is called The Coachman, which is about a group of young people, I said that like I was really old, those kids, who go to Europe kind of traveling, and they end up in this cabin in this remote area. Klagenfurt is the city in Austria. So they go to Austria, they get this cabin by this kind of like swampy land, lake type thing, and when they're there they hear this legend of this gentleman who lived in the woods and he killed a load of people, and they decide to go and kind of check out his house, or the ruins of his house, and then from there things start to happen and it starts to escalate, and they encounter him or his spirit. And I don't want to cause any spoilers because I really recommend reading this book, but I really loved that story. It was really creepy. And the way that it ended, it was very impactful. I really enjoyed it. Then we have Grolby, which is about a child-eating giant. We essentially have a guy who winds up through a series of circumstances in a pub in a remote location. He sees somebody who's kind of like an acquaintance with, but you know, you're in that awkward situation where you've made eye contact, you both know you know each other, so you're going to have to go and sit and talk to them. But he can see that there's something wrong. He's got a really intense look in his face. And he goes and talks to him, and he basically regales him with the tale of how his child was torn to shreds from his first relationship, and how the child had said that he'd been visited by a giant in his dreams, and that when he came in real life, this is when this happened. And that his son in his latest marriage is saying the same thing, and that he has to try to save his son from this giant. And then something comes towards the pub. Again, fantastic story. It's a really great sort of, the way these stories are done, it's like fables and folklore, but it's just so rooted in horror. It's really beautifully done. Next we have The Valley Without Laughter, which is about vampires. We have a traveling kind of freak show which ends up in this valley, and there is something there who becomes very interested in their like vampire show. He's not really a vampire, the guy who does the vampire show, but this woman, this creepy white pale mysterious woman, becomes interested, and it's all from the perspective of a little person who works in the freak show, someone with dwarfism, who notices this woman realizes what's happening and then understands when his friend, the guy who pretends to be a vampire, dies, that he is in fact becoming like her, and what that could mean for the people who live in the area, and decides that he might have to do something about it. It's really a really great, it's a version of the vampire story that I've never read before. I thought it was really beautifully done, and I liked it kind of reminded me of, like, if you got the American Horror Stories, you know, the freak show with some of the vampire aspects and kind of smash them together. It's sort of like that, but better. Next up, we have a pawn shop near Whitechapel. This was my favourite. This is about a gentleman who owns a pawn shop in Whitechapel, per the title. It's been the family business for years. His dad did it, and granddad did it, and he has a gentleman come in one day who just immediately makes him feel uncomfortable, and he doesn't know what it is. There's just something about this person that he is afraid of, that he finds grotesque and repulsive. This person asks for their stuff, and the slip was written by this guy's granddad, like a century before. And when he goes and picks it up and looks at the slip, it says it's a bag of assorted knives, and he says he can smell the blood from it. And he hands it over to this guy, and slowly it becomes revealed that this gentleman is Jack the Ripper, who has escaped from hell. And I know that might sound like a spoiler, but it is actually on the back of the book, so you'll know that straight away. But Jack the Ripper has escaped from hell and is on a rampage again in Whitechapel, and it's from this pawn shop owner's perspective, and the effect that has on him, and it is just a genius idea for a story told brilliantly. Okay, so the next one is Wishes 3. It's about two friends, one of them who's like very interested in philosophy and religion, and they discover a book and think they can make a quick buck flipping this book. It's a demonic text, a medieval demonic text. It's worth a fortune because of how old it is, and the guy who owns the bookshop doesn't realise. So, but this guy who's into philosophy, this person's friend, he's an expert in these types of things. He knows that if they buy it for what he's asking, they can charge 4 times as much, way to make money. When they buy the book, they find a piece of paper inside that says that they've got wishes to make each, 3 wishes, and at the end of the 3 wishes, they have to pay the price. Not overly specific on what the price is going to be, but from a demonic text, I'm sure you can imagine. And then it's about these individuals when they realise that this is actually real. That these wishes, they've inadvertently or deliberately made some of these wishes, and that if they don't make all 3 wishes, somebody's not going to be happy, essentially. So those are the 6 individual dreams in the text. I really, honestly, I just can't recommend this book enough. I loved every individual story so much. I loved the way that they were told, the way they were tied together. It just made me immediately fall in love with Gwenna Luna and this whole world, and I really want to read more. So if you're listening out there, Guenther, I love this book. Write another one and send it to me too, because I would be more than happy to review it. But that's it, guys. If you have any recommendations of a similar nature, if you have any anthology short story collections you think that I would like, definitely put them in the link in the comments down below. I always love your recommendations. But that's me for now. Subscribe, comment, like, do all that jazz. It means the world to me, and I will see you soon.